Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how to make your two-layer pivot table into Unpivot format. So you can summarize that easily by using the pivot function. If you look at the raw data format over here, we can see this table has the first layer header, which is a project 1, 2, 3, and also a second layer of header, which is the name, date, repeat multiple times according to the project name. And the row header, we have different item from item 1 to item 9, and your data array actually has two layers as well. So the first one was listing the name, and second is the date, and name again and date again. So it repeats itself 3 times. The difficulty of this is that the two layers make this pivot very complicated, but we can do that through the Power Pivot by some tricks. So today we're going to introduce you how to use Power Query to transform this data into a tabular format. And also this is a key into another core concept that you need to segregate your process of data collection and data analysis. I do understand that people try to make a template in the pivot format. It seems one stone hit two birds. So you're using that for collection and also using that for analysis. But this is only limit your capacity because you can only summarize by this way. Once this form has been confirmed, there's no other way you can easily transform this into other format. But if you have your data in very clean the tabular format, and then once you insert a pivot table, you can summarize it by any dimensions, different rows, different columns. So the flexibility is not comparable. In this tabular format, every database, every Excel, whatever data software you're using, they love this tabular format. So new data going down. That's the core concept from my last clips. If you can watch that, what's the difference between pivot format and tabular format, you will learn more about that. Let's jump back into this one. So we're going to use Power Query to transform this into a tabular form. So first we select any cell in this data range and then go into the data section. And then we're going to use this default button, which is from table range. Once we had that, we don't want the headers. Let's just click OK. Once we click OK, this Power Query editors just open. If I make this larger, okay, you can see our table has been loaded into Power Query editors. And on the left pane is the query that we have been ingested. Top pane is the menu, whatever transform action that we have. And here is a mimic of what we got on the sheet 1. Here, we're going to do some transformation to make this data more usable. So you can see we have the project over the top, which has project 3. And if we go into the left-hand side, you can see project 1. Since we merged that in the sheet 1, remember? That's why this one has become null. We need to kill those null first because we won't know for the same column. This name is for project 1. This date is for project 1. So how do we fill? Because we know that if I right click on this column, I have a fill down function for me to use to fill the data down based on the previous value. We need to do a transpose. So select any cell in here. And here we have transpose. If we transpose, the project will be here. The item 1, 2, 3 to 9 will be over the column. So transpose. Once we transpose, we need to fill down the data to fulfill this. Just right click, there's a fill down. We choose down. Now you can see this has been fulfilled. But if we want to use the Unpivot format, there's something else we need to consider when doing this kind of transformation, this Unpivot. Unpivot is only when you have one column, is only describe one thing. In here, yes, we have the item 1 to 9, but under the column, the data actually has a mix between the name and the date. So we need to merge these two together and then get things done. So what we do is we're gonna select column 1 and column 2. We're gonna do a merge. If we click this, we have merge column. If we merge, we're gonna choose a separator to merge that. We can call this, just say semicolon, whatever. You can use that. Merged, we can keep that. Once it's merged, we have merged that row label into one column, which is good. And then we do a transpose again. We go into this transform and table, transpose again. Once we transpose again, we can see we have moved the project out of the first row and merged with the second row headers. So we have merged two layers headers into one, which is good enough. We only have one layer for the row label as well. Now we're going to think about, in order to use the Unpivot function in Power Query, You need to make sure your data area, which is from this cell to this cell, is only talking about one thing. But here we have two columns talk about different things. How we make them talking about just one topic, we can just merge these two as well. So let's just first promote the first row as a header, and then we can select this one and shift, and then we can merge these two. So we're going to go into the text column and merge. And this time we're going to use just comma. We can do whatever as long as you can remember. And we're going to call this project one, name and date. So this one column carry three information. Is for project one and also carry the name of the people and also the date. Click OK. We do the same thing for the second and the third one. Make sure you only select these two because they are under the project two parent. And we do a merge again, going to the text column, merge. This time we're going to do the same separated, which is a comma. We're going to call this as project two, name and date. Then we do the same thing for the project three and go to text column, merge column, then use the comma and we say project three, name and the date. Once we've done this, we can have a look. This pivot table format has met our criteria to use the function because our data area is only talking about one thing, but it's a concatenation of multiple topics. We concat them together, they're talking about one thing. First, what is the project? Second, what is the project name? Third, what is the date? We can rename this as item. And then we're going to do unpivot. We can select the first and then go into the transform. You have this. We're going to say unpivot other column. Okay, now we have only three columns ready. The first column is totally fine. The second one is telling us for this value, this is for which project. And the name and date actually doesn't matter because we know the name and date is already covered in this value column. So we can just right click this column, say replace value. We're going to replace this whole thing as project one, click OK, and do the same thing for the project two. And for the same thing, you can replace that as project three. You do have other options. For example, you can add a custom column to only retrieve the data from the first few characters. To grab this project name, we're going to say project name. Okay, once we have done this column, we need to do this column. This column is pretty easy. We just split the column. If we split by delimit and this window pop up, say we're going to use that, you can try to see that we have segregation by this separator, which is comma. We're going to select this comma and everything else, just leave as default one. Click OK. Once we've done this, if we go into that. And we know this ABC, whatever column is the name of the people. And this is actually the date. So we say date. Once we've done this, you don't need this kind of time. Say we refine this data as a date. Now we have two layers pivot format table into this tabular format table, which is pretty good. We can then go into the home tab. You can close and load to. Let's do that. Once you do this, you have several options. Normally, I just choose create connection. You have this connection ready. You can see over here, I have nothing else to display because it's just a connection. It's a connection between this object, which is a table, and connect to the backend Power Query. So we can do a new one. We can say overview. In this overview, we can just go into the data section, go into the query and connection. Once we find this one, you can right click. Oh, you probably cannot see that. That's fine. And if you right click, you have several options. Here we're going to say load to. We're not going to do the connection. We're going to say do a pivot table. And we're going to say existing worksheet. Go into here and here. Click OK. Once we have ingest that pivot over here, now it's our time to summarize the data in different ways. For example, if you want to summarize by date and by what kind of people has done what, and also the count of item they have done, then that's our table. We just need to do a little bit formatting. Go into the number formatting. Number formatting is all good. We need to right click, go into this table options, untick this one, and rename this as a say name. Now we can make this smaller. And then if I close this one, drag this one. And if you don't like this kind of ungroup things, we can group this by month or say quarter and date. Let's see how it goes. Now you have quarter two, everything is in June. But if you say, okay, I want something that by week, that's pretty easy. Just go into the data section. We need to find the connection that we have built. We just click, double click, We get into the Power Query editors. We just need to add an additional column attached to this date column. So add a new column. We can say add a custom column. Once we add this new column, we can see this is a date week. Once we have this date week, we can just search what kind of week function is available. We actually need the week of the year, say week 1, week 2, until week 52. We just click enter, bracket, and then we're gonna use the default column that we already recognize, which is the date column, and then bracket back. There's no syntax errors, which is all good. Click OK. Now we have this. So this is the week number within this 2023 year, which is all good. Once we've done this, go into the home and we close and load. Once we close and load, nothing has changed. But if we go to close this one and select this one, we go into the far right hand side and go into analysis. I'm going to show field list. You can see the week and the query is over here. So we just put the week over here. You can see it's Q2 has a week 25, 26. We just ungroup this one. Okay, now it's telling us by week and date. This is 25th week, 26th week, 27th week, and what is the date. And for each person, how many items they have finished during that period, and hence the result. And hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next one.